If you are really observant, you might know that some of these objects over here have changed a little bit, but that's no big deal. I just had to redo them because I didn't save them from last time. Okay, so let's talk about this one that you pretty much have all the ammunition you need to be able to do. I'm going to grab the pen tool here. Again, make sure everything's set up right. No fill, just a stroke. And I was going about 2-point stroke. All right, so I'm going to first show you with starting with just a click for the bottom of the heart. So click and drag over here on the side. Now we're coming into this center area, and here's where we want to click, drag, hold down the Option key, flip this around, come over here about the same distance, and turning on a grid would help if you needed a lot of accuracy. And then here we can just simply come back and click. If we do, we're going to get just what you see there, but I could also click and drag, and then this side could be a little bit more stylistic. But what if I wanted both sides to come in like that? Well, that brings up a couple interesting things. So first of all, let's start again here. We're going to click and we're going to drag this time so that we have a handle for some control on the bottom. We'll come back over here to the outer place. We'll come back around here for the center, click and drag, hold down the Option key, swing around, do our mirror image here, click and drag, and then here we're going to click and drag. Now see what's happening here? So what we would want to do in that case is Command Z to back up a step here, and then when we come over here to click, we're going to hold down the Option key, and so it lets us also break that continuity there at the end. I'm going to save this guy because in a little bit I'm going to show you how to convert it, to look more like the other one. So we'll just move this out of the way, get rid of this. Let's go on to make this shape. So here's the trick that you need for this one is when we get over here, we are going to need an anchor handle up here, but we know if we click and drag, that's not going to work. So what we do is we complete this path, and then while it's still selected, we're just going to click and drag upwards. Then we come over here, we click and drag down. Now the problem is if we click over here, that's not going to work. So let's Command Z that. What we need to do is click here, and it's going to get rid of the future affecting anchor handle. You get to see that one more time. So we'll come over here, we're going to click, 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 release the mouse. Now click and drag. Come over here, click and drag. Now what we're trying to get rid of is the anchor handle right where my mouse is. So to do that, we're going to click here, it goes away, and then we can finish up our shape. Now let's talk about waking up paths so that we can continue to draw on them. So let's pretend this is what we meant to draw, but we only got this far. We clicked and we clicked, and then the pizza came, and by the time we got back to here, this was no longer activated. So all you have to do is take the very same tool that we've been using, the pen tool, and if we click here, what's going to happen is it kind of wakes it up, so to speak, and then we can continue drawing. So for straight, it's just going to be a click, but if it's curved, it'll depend whether we want to just click or we want to click and drag. So if we come over here and we're going for this, and we just simply click, and then we go over here, we're not going to get exactly what we want. Now there may be an instance where we don't want an additional handle there, so that's good to know. But if we want this, and I'm just going to back up here and deselect that just so you can see this from scratch. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to click and drag, and then that wakes that up with both anchor handles, and then I can come over here, click and drag, and complete that shape. Here's something just to be aware of. When you're using the direct selection tool and you click on an anchor and you delete it, you may be leaving things behind that you're not aware of. So one way to check for that is to go to view and change it to outline mode. And that shows you everything that's on your document that might be hidden. And if I move this around with the hand tool, I think you'll see better. Here, you see this little blop right there? That's the remaining anchor handle that was there. So in this mode, now I can see it and I can click on it and delete it. I'm just bringing that up because sometimes it messes up your document, and it used to cause a lot of problems with printing. So if you ever experience an issue with printing problems, just clean up your document that way. And then you go back to view and you usually select the top option, which I think it's because the video is happening right now. It's not working for me. So I actually have to go to just preview first, and then I can go back to this mode, and now it works. Now, if ever you make a mistake when you draw a path, and it's just a small one, of course, you know you can just click on it and delete it. If you place the anchor in the wrong spot, you can just simply Command Z, back up, and redo it. But I want to show you a few things here that are more advanced. So if you're working on another project and you're in a hurry to get to it, then I would just say come back to this video when you have better time to spend with it. But if you want to see how to convert points and add points and all that, then continue watching. All right, so the first item I want to show you is how to move an anchor point on the fly. So let's say you click here, you drag, you click here, you drag, and let's say you're tracing something, right? You're trying to be super accurate, and you click here and you drag and you realize, I placed that in the wrong spot, but you still have the mouse pressed down. Keep the mouse pressed down, press down the space bar, and now you can move that anchor point on the fly. And that doesn't matter whether you're working with curved lines, straight lines, it's just moving the anchor point with the mouse still held down. All right, so that's one thing. Another is, what if you wanted this to look more like this? Could you fix it without redrawing it? Yes. What you want to do is select it, and then, oops, you got to select it with the selection tool. I had the pen tool selected. So I'm going to click here to wake it up. And then when I grab the same tool we've been using and I hover over, you see that little plus mark? That's going to add an anchor point. And then when I click there and I have my anchor point, now if I go back over here, grab the direct selection tool, I can click just on that anchor and put it in place. Sort of the opposite of that is if you have an anchor and you don't want it. So again, it's got to be selected for this to work right. So we're going to select it. We're going to come back over here, grab the pen tool. We're going to click on that anchor and it goes away. All right, and then the next interesting item here is that you can actually convert this. So if you wanted this to be a curve instead of a straight line, there's a tool in here housed with the pen tool, just right below it. You just come over here, make sure you're on the anchor, and click and drag. So now, remember I told you I was going to show you how to make this heart more like the other one, where you had some inside swoop over on this side. So because we initially drew this without clicking and dragging from the very start, we need to change this handle, but it's going to be a couple step process. So first thing we need to do is have this tool over here, housed with the pen tool, the anchor point tool. We're going to click and we're going to drag, and we got to make sure we drag in the right direction so we're not really messing with that. And then we can take a guess at how long we want the handles before we release the mouse. Then we have to come back, grab the direct selection tool, and then we need to click on here, but we need to hold down the option key. So we're going to click and drag, hold down, well, click and drag with the option key held down, come over here, do the same thing to this one. And since it's broke, we don't really have to hold down the option key anymore. Probably the most common question about the pen tool is, how do I know where to place the anchor points? And there is no real easy answer to that. But I think if you spend a little bit of time with what I'm about to show you next, it'll help. But the thing that helps the most is just trial and error. Trace a lot of things. I'm a big fan of tracing guitars because guitar has it all. It has inside curves, outside curves, and then you have to switch to the straight neck so you get the experience, or you get to try everything that we've learned about here. But I also have a maze that I found a few years ago, and I'm going to make that. Hopefully, I'll have it available to you on the homepage. So let's just go out to one of my classes here. Doesn't matter which college. I just need to go to the homepage, and I should have it for you on the homepage, and then you should just be able to right-click on it, save image as, and I'll just save it in my downloads folder, pen tool maze, and then I'll come back over here to Illustrator. And as you can see, I've just picked an artboard over here that has nothing on it. I'll just click on that artboard so it knows where I'm trying to communicate with. Now, what I probably want to do at this point is turn click on my layers and then go down here and make a new layer, and I'll even name that photo and make sure that that's the one that's selected. Then I'm going to go File, Place, and then I'm going to hit Place, and I'm going to go to find my Downloads folder, and where are you? Right there. And then click on that, click Place, and I might have said click Place earlier. I got ahead of myself. You just go File, Place, you navigate to the document, then you click Place, and then just up near the corner of the file, then just go ahead, or near the top corner of the artboard, click, and it'll place the document in here. If you want to resize it, just hold down the Shift key, and that's important here because it probably won't work properly if you blow the proportions on it or the ratio. So hold down the Shift key, resize it, release the mouse, release the Shift key. Now what we can do is come over here, lock that layer so that this image is on a layer by itself, and then we can either take this layer and bring it underneath this one and continue drawing here, or if you want a brand new layer for your drawings, still bring the photo down below and click on the plus layer to give yourself a new layer. And then, so we have the photo layer locked now, so we can't accidentally draw on that layer. And then if you spend some time on this, I think it'll kind of help you understand where to place your anchors. So again, we got to get back to the pen tool, and this time in the properties, I'm going to make this stroke color red so that it stands out, and I'll make it like 3-point stick so it really sticks out. And basically what you want to do is wherever you see one of these square things, that's where you click, that's where you put your anchor point. So just simply a click and a click, redo that, click, come down here, click, click, and so on. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over to here because you know how to do that. But now here you can see we only have one anchor point, right? So if we click and we drag, no, we don't get what we want. So Command Z, so we have to remember what we learned. We have to click, then we have to click again and drag. And if we drag exactly to where they did, we're going to get the same result that they did. So we click over here, click and drag, go to the same place they did. So what that tells you is that that's about the most appropriate place to put the anchor point. A lot of people think that it's right on the apex of the curve, but it's usually not. I mean, here you can see that this is about the apex. So in this case, we're going just a little bit after it with just a click. Or was that a click and a drag? Well, to me, it should have been a click and a drag. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, I think what happened is you just can't see it inside of there. So we're going to do a nice little click and drag again, and we're going to go over here, do a longer click and drag. So again, notice it's on either side of the most extreme part of the curve, and by that I mean this area right here and this area right here. Same thing happens again there. All right, so I'm just going to go a little quicker here. We get to here, we're just clicking. We're just clicking again, then we need to click and drag. Notice there's the most noticeable part. Now this is right in the transition between two different types of curves, so that often works pretty well. Same thing's happening here again. And then there should be a click and just a slight drag, a click, and then remember what you're doing here is a click and a drag. And then over here we have like the top of the heart where we have to click and drag, hold down the Option key, swing it around, come over here, click and drag, come over here, click and drag, and whoops, that's a problem sometimes. You run out of screen real estate, so I may have to zoom in or zoom out, or actually zoom out a little bit here, but let me just try one more time with the mouse still selected. And nope. Okay, so I will Command Z that, and I'll place this right where I know it'll work. So I'm going to click, drag, and then when I get all the way up here, now I'm going to hold down the Option key, swing that around, and notice I'm not going to the same area. But if I did, like, how would I know? Then that's when you just Command Z, back up, try it again. And we're going to click and drag out to here, and then we can tell that since we're going to a straight line, we need to get rid of the handle. And then we're going to click, we're going to click, we're going to click again and drag. We're going to come over here, click and drag. Wait, something went wrong there. I think I must have been facing the wrong direction, so let's try that from back here. Click and drag. Come over here, click and drag. Yeah, that's what I did. I drug up rather than down. Click and drag, and little one here, and finish off there. Now, here's what I would suggest that you do is now you can take, assuming that you trace the whole thing, now you can come over here to layers and you can turn off your photo, lock the layer that you just did, create yet another layer, and see if you can copy this time without the help of the photo. And then once you do that, then you come back over here, turn on the photo, go through your anchor points, especially anyone that you had problems with, and click on it, see where it is. Like you could even just move it off to the side here. Let's see, I've got this locked, so I'm not selecting it. Click, drag, and then you can compare how far you drug out your handles and where you placed the anchor to where this photograph did. Another question I get sometimes is, in this day and age, are you telling me this is the best we have, is this pen tool that takes forever to really learn and do well? Well, put it this way, it's the best thing for being accurate, and it is available in one form or another in most of Adobe's programs. Even Photoshop, which is a pixel-based program, you can use a pen tool in there to make very accurate paths around photographs that would be more accurate and smoother than pixel selections. So I highly suggest that you learn it and learn it well. Now, sometimes if you're in a hurry and you're not concerned about quality, you can use, and definitely don't use this as a graphic designer. This would just be if you're in a hurry. So you got the pencil tool, maybe look up some videos on it, but definitely don't use it in this class. Don't use it on your project, especially if you're doing the Celebrity AI project. You have Live Trace. That's also forbidden on the Celebrity AI project. You can look up videos on that, and what that does is basically computerizes a photograph, turns it into vector work. It is kind of hideous in the way that it does it, especially if you zoom in, you'll see there's all kinds of bizarre little anomalies that occur in it. And most creative directors, the people that are looking to hire you, if you have work in your portfolio where you use Live Trace, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb to them, and eventually it will to you as well. So I'm just telling you this so you're aware of other options that do exist. And then there is this new tool that they've added called the curvature tool. It works kind of sort of like the pen tool, but not really. So I think with this one, you double click. Let me just lock all this stuff here. And I just want to see if I can duplicate that with it. I'm not a huge fan of it just because I've spent so much time learning the pen tool, but let's just see if I can give you a sort of a breakdown of what this one does. In fact, let's just try it over here just for a second. So you double click to place a point with it, double click again. So Straight lines are a little bit cumbersome with it because it's continually double clicking. If you've got a curve that you want to do, like say starting here, then you go over, let's see here, you'd go up to, I believe it's the apex of the curve. Let's try it. Yeah. And then you click again. So if I wanted to, and if I want to go straight again, then I have to double click again. So let's just see if I can do this. So double click, click and drag. No. Okay, so let's go here. Instead of a double click, let's click, release. Let's go to the apex of the curve. Then let's, I'm not that good with this. Let's see. Okay, so I click and release. Now I come over here and I click and I drag. And then I think I'm going to have to double click on that. Double click, double click, double click. Yeah, so then I'm going to just single click here, click and drag here to make out that curve. So I just believe there's no substitute for really getting good with the pen tool.